been crawling up this mountain? Anyway. Hey guys, so first of all, I want to say thank you for everybody who submitted some questions. You guys like jumped in and got deep, and I love it because I thought it was going to be like, where are you from, and you know, what's your favorite national park and things like that, which are great questions as well. But y'all got real deep and asked some amazing questions on all platforms. So I got some on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and Facebook. So I'm going to do my best to go through and answer these. So first off, a little bit about me. My name is Monica Ortega and I am from Holt, Michigan. I've also lived in Chicago, England, Nashville, and now Los Angeles. I graduated from Western Michigan University, and during college I started working at the Double J Ranch and Resort. So I went there as like a musical theater major and ended up doing like stunt shows and riding a bull and rodeo clowning and jumping off buildings and just doing all this crazy stuff that kind of got me in love with adventure. And then after college, I ended up backpacking around Europe for 3 weeks. And then I moved to Nashville to sing and write country music. And then that kind of got me into line dancing, it got me into music videos, which brought me back to acting. And then all of that kind of brought me to Los Angeles. So out here I do hosting, line dancing, I sing in bands, and I do acting, and then I have the show. So quite a lot. So that's a little bit about me in a very short amount of time. So I asked you guys for 20 questions, and I think right now I have like 18, but you guys went so deep, and it wasn't just like one word answers. There's a couple that are, but I'm gonna actually break this up into 2 videos. So I'm going to get into, I think, 9 questions today, and then I'll do 9 more for the next one. And if you wanna know more stuff, keep them coming, and I'll just keep making these random videos. All right, first question comes from Lindsay on Facebook. When did you realize that you wanted to be a travel host? So when I was living in Nashville, I started hosting and teaching line dance at the Wild Horse Saloon. And then from there, I've kind of hosted a lot of different events. I've hosted country music festivals and singing competitions and things like that. But it was always kind of a side job while I pursued acting. And then I read an amazing book. These birds are loud. I read an amazing book called You Are a Badass that was kind of like, when are you your happiest? When are you your best self? And for me, I kind of realized it was hosting. So I took one hosting seminar, like a free seminar, and I was like, yes, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, 100%. So I started taking hosting classes, and the whole thing was, now with online social media, stuff like that, the best way to do it is to create a show that you would love, create content, and then be seen as a host. And so originally when I started Monica Goes, it was not with the intent of having a show or running a business or anything like that. It was purely just, I love adventure, I love travel, and I want to be a host, so I'm gonna put this stuff together and see what happens. Slowly it kind of found an audience, and I fell in love with creating my own content and running my own business. So about 3 years ago is when I started the show, and as I've gone, I've fallen more and more in love with it, and now it's like, no looking back. This is what I want to do. Thank you, Lindsay. Great question. All right, next question. Let's see. Haha, this is a good one. How do you make a living and afford to travel? Ah, the age-old question. So first of all, I feel like everybody makes it look glamorous and super easy, and it's not. I was very fortunate when I started the show. I had just done a few commercials, so I had some money there to just kind of do what I wanted. And again, I didn't really plan on it being a business, so I was not very smart about it. In hindsight, I would definitely do things differently. But that kind of got it started. But I also work at a restaurant, and when I'm not on the road, I'm working all the time on a restaurant, at a restaurant. I also, because I do the music festivals, there's some that aren't country, so I'm not teaching line dance, so I have found a way to work while on the road. So I'll work like a brand ambassador job, getting paid just above minimum wage, to go to a music festival in New Orleans and then stay an extra couple days to film. So it ends up coming out even. So I work for 3-4 days, make the money, and then shoot the show. I also do Instacart, which is like a personal grocery delivery service. And then, like I said, I teach line dancing and I sing in bands. So definitely a lot of hustle to be able to travel and do this all the time. And as I got along, like now it's gotten to a really nice place where there's a lot of perks. There's a lot of discounts, there's some free stuff. So that helps too. But it's definitely not easy. It's a lot of hustle. It's a lot of figuring out your priorities. you know, I don't really shop for new clothes. I don't really go out a whole lot, or, you know, I just don't really spend a lot of money on anything else. It kind of all goes into the show. So that's how I personally do it. Everyone has their own way, but yeah, until I can get to a place where there's like sponsorships and things like that, it's definitely just hustle, 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 and work all the time. But I love what I do, and it makes it worthwhile when I go on those trips. So. This comes from Haley on Instagram. What is the most exciting thing about my job and the least exciting thing about my job? So the most exciting is obviously the adventure. I love going new places and doing things and pushing out of my comfort zone and doing things I'm afraid of. That's definitely, I mean, that's the most exciting for sure. And meeting new people. I really enjoy the people that I've gotten to meet along the way. Millie is so restless. The least exciting, oh my gosh. I don't know. Probably like pitching and the behind the scenes hustle. I enjoy talking to people, but just kind of like blanket statements, sending out emails is not as fun. That's probably the least exciting. Some of the behind the scenes stuff, just keeping up. I honestly, I love it all. It's everything I'm doing for the show. It makes me happy. So even if it's like the least exciting part of the job, it's still something I really, really enjoy. The editing, I enjoy the editing like at the end of the process, but the beginning when it's like 3 hours of footage and you're just watching it to like cut out all the crap, that's kind of tedious until you get into the fun stuff with the music and things like that. So, but again, I really enjoy all of it. I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't. So, but that, yeah, that's probably the most exciting and the least exciting. Most definitely being on the trip, on the adventures, and in the moment. Sorry if the lighting changes. The sun's about to come up over that mountain, so if it gets weird, I apologize. This comes from Hendrix on YouTube. Oh, actually 2 people asked this, and my friend Saras on Snapchat asked this as well. This is a deep one, guys. What is the biggest obstacle in my career and in my life, and how do I plan on overcoming it? So there's two big obstacles. There's like the practical one, money. That's definitely probably the hardest like practical problem, and overcoming that is just reaching out to people, eventually getting sponsors, things like that. But honestly, like on a personal note, the biggest obstacle for me is relationships. You know, I want a family and I want kids and a husband and all that sort of stuff, and I tend to get very distracted when I'm dating somebody, or even when I like somebody. It's like, oh, I like you. Okay, you get all my free time, and then the show kind of gets put on the back burner, and I don't like that about myself. It's something I'm definitely working on, finding that balance of like keeping strong in the things that I want and enjoying another person's company as well, but trying to find the balance of like being in a relationship and having the career and not feeling like I have to choose, because that's something that like my whole life I felt like I needed to choose one or the other, and just recently I've kind of been like, no, I can have both. Eventually I want, you know, a family that I can just toss in the backpack and let's go. On a very personal note, that's definitely my biggest obstacle. Yeah, so overcoming that, I definitely try to like write out schedules, keep myself in check. I do meditation to make sure, you know, I'm grounded and picking and choosing my thoughts and things like that. So it's a work in progress, but it's something that I know is going to change things for me when I can figure out that balance. And yeah. You can tell as I get like more uncomfortable with the personal ones. But here's my thing, like I always say, I'm an open book and use your story and stuff like that, and then it comes down to it and I don't necessarily open up about these things so much on social media, and especially on YouTube. I do more on Facebook, but on a personal like one-to-one level, absolutely. I love talking about stuff. So so thank you for these questions. Okay, this one comes from Veronica on Facebook. Do you have a fear of dying in a large body of water? Well, I do now. No. Honestly, like water doesn't freak me out that much. There's definitely like the fear of what's underneath. I grew up in Michigan, so the lakes, like, I love them. I have no issue with the water, but the ocean's definitely a different story of like, oh, there's things underneath that can kill me and I can't see the bottom. Cool. But no, water actually has not been that bad. I've kind of surprised myself because I'm not the greatest swimmer, but I've like loved snorkeling. I really want to get into scuba diving. To me, it's so quiet underwater in a way that it's just not anywhere else. So I actually really, really enjoy the water. I do have a fear of dying on heights. That's like my big thing. Any sort of like hike with a drop off. When I did Angel's Landing, I think for like 2 weeks before I went, every single night I had a nightmare of falling off. So by the time I got there, I was a mess. Oh, hi. Hello. We have made a friend. Do you have an owner? Hi. You're so cute. Oh, hey, Millie. Okay, we're gonna pause for a second here. My battery's about to die. Okay. You're so cute and you're finally sitting in my lap and now my battery's gonna die. All right, hold on. All right, take 2. All right, so we're gonna try to finish this before the sun gets over that mountain and the lighting gets really weird. So, next question comes from Lindsay on Facebook. What is your favorite high school memory? Oh my gosh, there's a lot. I feel like I'm one of those weird people that actually really liked high school. I hated elementary and middle school. I was like super awkward. Probably in high school too. I just didn't care as much. Let's see. It's more of a feeling, honestly. I loved being in the high school musicals and first love. That's probably like the best feeling from high school. Oh, you know what? I know what my favorite memory is. I was voted homecoming queen, which was like really unexpected because I was not in the cool crowd, I don't think. I think I was just friends with everyone. So that was kind of like this moment of like validation, which sounds awful, but like I just really made me happy and made me feel good. So yeah, that's a really awkward thing to say. Dave on YouTube asked, what's your favorite singer and bands and kind of music? Oh my gosh, I literally listen to everything. There'll be like 90s hip hop and then praise music and then musicals and then pop music. So when I run, it's like heavy metal, angry stuff. So I'm kind of all over the board. My current favorite band is probably Jamestown Revival. If you haven't heard them, look them up. They're super cool. They're kind of like folksy bluegrass country. I'm a big Dixie Chicks fan. That was like my band growing up. Garth Brooks, so mainly country, I guess. That would be like my #1 genre. Yeah, it's always such a weird one because I don't have like, most people have like that one. They're like, oh, Bruce Springsteen, you know, or Elton John. For me, it's like, I literally like everything. I used to buy soundtracks as a kid just to like get the variety of all these different musicians. So there's very few that I like have every single album for. Let's see, next question. Tim on Twitter, I love this question so much. If, I'm gonna say when, the Lions go to the Super Bowl, but if you win 2 tickets on the 50-yard line, who would you take, your mom or your dad? So both of my parents are huge sports fans. They're actually more into baseball and basketball, but we watch all sports. That's a really hard one. Probably my dad. He's probably more into football. If it was like the Tigers in the World Series, I would take my mom because she's definitely more baseball. But you know what? When the Lions go to the Super Bowl, we're all getting tickets. We are all going because that is going to be amazing. Don't say it's never going to happen because it's going to happen. Anyway, okay, final question. Let's see. What would I tell my 15-year-old self that I know now? Oh my gosh. I feel like I still need this reminder. I think the biggest thing that I've learned is like planning and obsessing over the plans. It's not worth it because they don't end up how you expected anyway. So I think it's good to like have vision boards and have ideas, but I literally like get anxiety and drive myself nuts trying to figure things out. And oh my gosh, what's this gonna look like 5 years from now? And then 5 years from now, 9 times out of 10, it didn't happen and it doesn't matter anyway. So trying not to like overanalyze and obsess over every decision and how it's gonna look in the future. But again, I still need that reminder because I still do this. And probably that people don't care as much as you think they do. Like worrying, 15-year-old self, I worried a lot about what other people thought about me. And actually some of the things that have gone wrong in my life have been the best, like the best blessings, because in my mind, it made me realize like, oh, well, what everybody thought went out the window anyway. So now I get to like actually do what I want and create a life that I enjoy. So I think that was the biggest thing, like caring so much what other people thought, and now I'm just like, this is me, take it or leave it. So yeah, those are the first little batch of questions, and I really appreciate it. I love how deep you guys went, because I'm the type of person that I always like deep conversations over just surface conversations anyway. So please let me know if you have more questions. I'm gonna do a part 2. A lot of the questions in the next one have to do with like faith and some career stuff too, but I love how deep you guys get. So I'm gonna make another video that should be out in a little bit after this, but please hit subscribe and let me know if you have more questions. And thank you so much. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for listening. I really, really appreciate it. So, all right.